Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I have 3 stories for you from the Malicious Compliance subreddit. Before we start that, make sure to check out my website CanadianRob.com where you can pick up your own 3D printed Carmen Chameleon. It's so cute and it comes with cookies. Check them out on the website CanadianRob.com. On to the stories, let's jump right in. This story comes to us from Ancient Educator 76. I better see some flavors on that damn screen. The pokey little puppy strikes again and gets declawed. Hey all, it's your Southwestern drive-thru operator, OP, trying to make it through one shift without losing my gosh darn mind. Just one. The reason for this is a loner employee from a different Mendy's we'll call Brooklyn, not her real name. Things were going okay enough, you know, same old crap, stuff being thrown at us, insults towards my family and everyone who interacted with them. Just another Saturday night following a horrifically disappointing Diamondbacks loss. I kind of expect the customers to take their day out on me, sadly, but someone I stand next to and make the same money at the same time, it's a bit much. And by a bit much, I mean as unbearable as watching Tommy Wiseau act in my favorite movie as the star. Well, there goes any positive feelings I have about Shrek 2. I'm losing my mind, like the end of the movie Fight Club. Remember when Where Is My Mind played in the background? Yeah, that's me, falling closer and closer to lunacy, almost welcoming it so the anticipation of its manifestation doesn't kill me. What did Brooklyn do, you ask? Oh, she swore at me multiple times, light sauce. She fat-shamed me anytime I didn't do exactly what she told me to do. At the exact time she said it, she's not my manager, nor anybody's I believe. She would tell me to get her more water bottles, not my job, not her job, while I'm taking people's orders. Not like while I'm taking people's orders in the royal sense, like smack dab in the middle of speaking to someone. And I'm supposed to hear what she yells. Well, displacement theory dictates that I can't do that right now, but I still managed to go back and defy this law of physics and be 2 places at once. I get them because they're needed, and I can, so I defy this law. But if you call me a fat butt one more time, I will not be so accommodating. It's disrespectful and frustrating to work with this person, to say the least. And I'm just getting started. She also leaves for the restroom without telling anyone, also light sauce comparatively. The thing that sent it over the top was drinks, and assault, I suppose, as I'm writing this. At this store, we have a system. It works well for everyone except Brooklyn. We have a very busy store for a Mendy's. I'm talking about 650 to 700 orders nightly. Though Mendy's has a system in place for speed, we have a couple more that are needed to keep our speed and accuracy numbers quick and accurate. Here's the system from rolling up to the order box. I greet and take the order. As I'm taking the order and enter it, I'm also making the drinks. Entering the drinks is a multi-button process if you specify the drink. We only specify the drink if it's a price difference, like Chocolate Frosty or Mavis Craft Lemonades. It takes an extra couple seconds, one if I press the button quickly, and on an order that's 6 Miggy bags with different sodas, it takes an unnecessarily long time to enter this instead of repeating the first bag and quantity 6. Like way longer than not doing this. We place the drinks in a row like a conveyor belt in the order in which I make them, which is always the order in which the cars come in. We only run one lane, even accounting for mobile orders. When I put the drinks down, I and the other 2 managers on shift remind her that the drink shown on the screen she sees won't always, rarely, reflect the actual drink ordered. Trust OP. Trust that the drinks are the ones they are expecting. It works. Still, over and over, she pokes my shoulder like she's my teacher and it's 1982, saying, "This is clear. What drink is it? It says Coke." I tell her in return, remember, it's going to be what the customer ordered. Just hand out the number of drinks it has listed. It is right, I promise. This goes back and forth for a while, and I make the mistake of trying to put flavors on the drinks on occasion, or reminding her the drinks that are coming up in between the picoseconds of time we have to work with. When we get slammed, we all slip into the same old system that always works. We remind her again, Brooklyn, just hand out the drinks. You don't have to have an interview about drinks. Just hand out the next ones. The number of drinks is on the bottom of the ticket up there. Just look. She sighs and all but throws the drink at the customer like it's their fault. I tell her, it's gonna be fine. I promise it's always been right unless the customer changes their drink order between. Both managers even pipe in and say, yeah, OP always has the drinks right. I felt good about that moment. Management had my back. Anyway, next customer with a multi-Miggy bag order. Here comes Pokey the puppy again, this time assaulting my clavicle. Look, this effing crap isn't working for me, poking me increasingly harder with each syllable of the sentence. She yells in my face so hard, her gross lip juice jumped off her lip and morphed into my lower lip. Look, butthole, I want to see every flavor up there on that screen. Every single one. Pokes abound. Enter Malicious Compliance. I turned around and ignored the fact that this woman just gave me cooties. The very next order I put in, the Coke specifically, instead of just M drink, it now says Coke. And underneath begins a line of flavors that are possible, and many that are not. One line at a time. Vanilla, raspberry, peach, sweet tea, Caddyshack, strawberry, cherry, etc. It went on for 50 lines and took up the length of my screen twice. I hit store and let her rip. It took a few minutes for the order to get up to the queue, but when it did, it flustered her mid-sentence as she handed out the drink saying, and you had the Coke Vanilla Raspberry Peach Sweet Tea why the... And she turned to me directly and said, with the window still open, you stupid fat butt, I effing told you. You knew what I meant about the flavors. Put the right effing flavor. And added a hard poke that hurt like heck. Mainly because it's about the same spot 6 times now. And it hurt her as well, evidently. She screamed with agony while I'm trying to figure out what went wrong. The customer started to look at her in the face, and I had a feeling she was gonna lay into her about the fat butt remark, but this girl is screaming so loudly, we change gears and start to help her. The reason she screamed with agony is because she was definitely in agony. She broke her fingernail straight back. Not just the fake one she was wearing, which admittedly looked so effing cool, like black and white geometric patterns with red blood spatter, but her whole nail came back, and there was so much blood. So much. Suddenly, everyone looked at me as if I did this to her. But after I lifted my shirt to see what my own pain was about, adrenaline wearing off, I realized I was bleeding too. Rochelle, my manager 1, asks me, oh my gosh, is that her blood too? Nope, it was mine. Not as bloody, not as painful, but how I was able to bleed through my shirt from her pokes was a scientific oddity to say the least. As much as I would love to have a nice little bow to wrap this story up, looks like we're both in need of some bandage wrapping of our own. This just happened, so the ultimate fallout is still falling in right now. Update to follow, but right now, I'm in the bathroom and my manager just rapped on the restroom door, asking if I'm okay. Sorry, I couldn't resist that last one. Even in pain and awkwardness of leaving my workers behind to be in the restroom, I still find a way to write something absolutely inane. OP added an update. It says, update, okay, I just kept this page opened and now writing more. The police were here. With the screaming and the blood, the customer called the cops. No one was arrested. Brooklyn is off collecting and home for the rest of the night, and I'm back at it. She sprained her finger and her nail came right off. The police said I had every right to press charges, and said I should have told the management the second I got assaulted. The first time, and that we shouldn't work together. Duly noted. Again, this took a non-linear weird turn at the end, but I think I may just be slower and enter the drink flavors from now on. Nah, it just doesn't work speedily, but I'll try when she's here. Also, we are open to other people's ways and systems and ideas. Diane was a floating manager for Mendy's, and she was the one who taught us to enter in a small water as an order whenever there's a mobile order intended for lobby, but they're picking it up through the drive-thru. It tells the cashier to look for an order without an identifier. That saves us so much time. Unlike this story. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Interesting Month 56. It says, "You definitely should have pressed charges. If not for you, then for the next poor soul she is bound to assault. She needs to spend 30 days and 150 hours reflecting on how much of a toxic and unpleasant person she is." I kind of agree with that comment, and OP, yes, I think you probably should have pursued that, because this person is going to go and just do it to somebody else. And you know they're sitting back right now thinking, it's not my fault, they're the reason I got in trouble, because it's never something the butthole does, it's always somebody else's fault. This story comes to us from Invisibunny. Interviewer accuses me of parking in the handicap spot and tells me to prove it. A few years ago, while I was in school and job hunting, I got an interview at a company for office work, filing, answering phones, setting appointments, etc. I was looking forward to getting an office job instead of retail or fast food. The building had big window walls that overlooked the parking lot, so you could see cars pulling in and parking. I pull into the lot and park my car. I get out and walk into the office. Now, as I'm walking in, I note that there is a car parked in the handicap space in the front of the office. This car looks just like mine, I should note. So I walk in and I'm greeted by the manager, who kinda gives me a scowling look. It made me uneasy a little as we walk back to his office. We sit down and he's asking me questions in a bit of a clipped tone. He seems annoyed by my answers and I don't understand what's going on at this point. Finally, he says, "Do you always park in handicap spaces?" I'm confused, so I ask him what he means. He goes on a rant about how entitled I am for parking in the handicap spot at a potential place of employment, and I'm just getting more lost. I asked him what is going on because I didn't park in the handicap spot, I'm parked in the lot. He argues with me and says he watched my car pull in and saw me parked there. I again told him that I didn't park in a handicap spot, but that the car I walked by in that spot looked similar to my car. He says that he knows that he saw me park and get out of the car. At this point, I'm over the whole interview. I knew this would be a cluster F of a place to work for if this guy is managing it. Then he goes a step further and says, "Prove it." I grab my purse and get my keys out. I don't even bother waiting for him and just leave the office. He's jogging after me and hurried outside to stand and wait. His face went from smug arrogance to Pikachu real quick as I walked past the car in the handicap spot. He asked me where I was going as I walked over to my car, then I turned around and made eye contact as I hit the button on my keys to unlock it and got in. He was starting to walk over to me, calling out that he was sorry about the misunderstanding, but I just put the car in reverse and left. I didn't even make eye contact with him as I drove away. OP added a really quick edit on the bottom. It says, "This was my second interview, so the manager knows what I and my car look like. I don't know why he said he saw me. I'm assuming it was a lie to get me to admit that I did. I've pondered this many a night, trust me." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Ms. Lurks a Lot. It says, "Great story and good save, OP. Imagine what it would have been like working for him." The next commenter down, called Bovine Arithmetic, says, "Being constantly and condescendingly accused of things you didn't do? Sign me up." Another commenter down below, called Gab737, made a very good point. It says, "An interview isn't just to see if you're hireable, it's to see if the company is worth working for. People forget that because modern day corporations act like you were blessed and kissed by God himself with the opportunity to work for them. You owe your entire life to them, because at any moment, they could not only make you jobless, but homeless too." OP, could you seriously imagine working for this person going forward? They would nitpick every little thing. That manager was basically waving enough red flags in your face that he could be his own Soviet parade. I've got to be honest though, if it was me leaving that place after being treated like that by the manager, they would definitely get a middle finger salute on the way out, because F that guy. This story comes to us from Traditional Mud 1241, 7-year-old Malicious Compliance. So this is me as a 7-year-old, much more than 7 years ago. For context, this predates common use of mobile phones. I think about this situation from time to time and just now realized it was probably my first experience with malicious compliance, even if it wasn't strictly speaking malicious. In the second grade, mostly 7-year-olds for those not in the US, I had one of those teachers who likes to single out a student for whatever inadequacies they are currently wrestling with, and I ended up in the principal's office quite a bit. The most recent occurrence, I was sent for lying about needing to go to the bathroom, because the teacher was peeking outside the classroom on my way back, and I drank at the water fountain. Apparently, it was necessary for me to say I needed to ask if I could use the bathroom and get a drink of water. The principal ordered me to sign a parental form letter saying that I would never again lie to school staff. 2 days later, I forgot my homework at home. I was sent to the office for this. This time, I was given a form saying that I had refused to do my homework. I drew a line through refused and wrote forgot. So the principal gave me another copy of the form and told me not to say I forgot. So I wrote a line through do my homework and wrote lie to school staff because I didn't refuse to do my homework. The principal started yelling at me and I just sat there saying nothing. Then he said, "Are you gonna sign the form with no changes?" I said, "I promised you I wouldn't lie. I won't sign a lie." He said, "If that's your attitude, you might as well go home." So I did. I sighed, stood up, went down the stairs, and out the door. 20 minutes later, I was home. The principal called the police. The police called my parents. Nobody thought to check the place I was told to go. Eventually, my mother got home with a police officer, and I said, I was told to go home, so I did. Then I explained the situation. The police officer asked me if I was lying, and I told him about the first note. He looked disgusted, said, well, he's safe, and left. The next day, we had a meeting with the teacher, the principal, a truant officer, and my parents. I said I'd accept any punishment they gave me, but I wouldn't lie about anything to any of them. The principal said, I guess it was his favorite expression, if that's your attitude, you might as well go home. So I did. There was yelling involved, but I left. A few days later, I was at another school. I don't know what happened in the background, I was 7. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Sun Remy Roman. It says, laugh out loud. What do your parents tell you now about what happened in the background? But well played. OP responded and said, the only things I know for sure, 1, I wasn't the first kid to complain. 2, years later, I was told, with excitement, that she had been fired for singling out students. My mother was a radio reporter, and it wasn't a big city, so she was probably able to keep tabs on things. They wouldn't have interfered directly, for better or worse. I'm trying to look at this one from a parent's perspective. If one of my kids was at school, had a letter from the principal, where the principal was basically telling them to sign something that they didn't do, I would totally respect my kid for saying no. And if the principal said to my kid, you can go home then, and my kid did, I would applaud my kid. However, I wouldn't want them walking home because we're quite a ways away from the school. So call me, I'll come pick you up, and we'll go back home. But not before I dress down that principal like you wouldn't believe.